Praying for enough, pray that you wins. Pray I judge nobody and forgive me my sins. I pray we make it, pray my friend to pull through. Pray as I take it, unto others I do. Praying on your love, we pray with every breath. Though I'm in the valley of the shadow of death, and so we
All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:31. It is September 9th. Wow, just like that. Hopefully everyone's feeling well. Had a great weekend. Let's see where we are. Hey, there's Red Dog. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club. We have a very busy week this week. We got an open house in the Alpha team. So if you want to come join along and watch or talk or interact with 500 plus professional traders around the world, figure out how we maneuver the tape, try and make some cash flow, try and have some fun, try and stay sane. All the things we don't do is we don't pray. We have gratitude, but we don't pray for certain types of trades to happen. We just, take what we can get and figure out how to maneuver the markets. I know, Friday we closed on the dead lows of the week. So what could have been a nice setup of a nice 30-40 handle in the hole, cover some shorts, buy some, get a little bit of a snapback, oversold bounces. The oscillator went out at minus 45, which is oversold, which is probably why not a lot of people are so short. Instead, we come in, the SPYs are up 40 handles, and Europe's up like, 0.6. Asia came off lows, and now we got to figure out, is this going to be a bear trap the way a week ago you had a bull trap, or, they're going to fade at some point and you have to measure your levels. So anyway, let me say hello to some of the dogs around the world real quick. Who do we got? We got Dario Dip. We got Sully in the house, Tampan. We got David Harvedio. We got Log Trades. We got Johnny Manglini from Dubai. What up, what up? Caracas in the house. We got Space Specialist. He says he's part of the open house. That's cool. Listen, use your resources. Why not? Figure out how to log in and just we'll see what happens. We're not going to force trades because we have an open house and do things that we don't do. We're going to do what I normally do every single day, which is my process and what's kept me in the business since like 1999, which is a long time. Red Dog's getting old. Anyway, so if you go real quickly to the chart of the SPYs, right? This was the week. You always want to look back a little bit real fast and how did you approach the week? If you think about where we were a week ago, it looked like we were ready to break out after this V bottom from August 5th. Came up here, went back and forth, looked like maybe there would be another move, and then they trapped every bull by the horns and wrestled them to the ground. And then we had a little bit of retest of the broken area, and then we on Friday just kind of not say imploded, but got came pretty far down there. So with that being said, if you remember, we talked about the 542.28 retracement area. That's from 510 to 564. That could have been a spot. Didn't happen. Okay, we wound up hitting a low of 539.46. So now you have the SPYs up 4. Okay, so we're above that spot. Okay, but we're also, what are we, 450? No, this is the Qs. I'm sorry. So let's go to the SPYs. Sorry, my friends. I knew something looked a little wrong. So actually, you could put these together because Qs and the SPYs. We're gonna have to figure out both retracements because tech has been leading us lower with the semis. So anyway, here you have 544.35 up 4. So I would think some people who like to be short are probably short maybe a third of what they had. You could have faded into here. You could have added to your shorts when we broke 547, okay, because that was on Friday. And then, we went down all day. You would have thought, hey, some people are like, hey, we closed really weak. Maybe we're going to have a Black Monday, so they stayed short, so I get it. But if you covered a bunch now into this, like, oh, where could I re-short? Or if you're flattish, I'm very tactical. I have no active positions on except for Palantir calls because, I had just kind of my gut was telling me they would be added to the S&P, and they were with Dell. We'll get to that. So anyway, so we're above this 542. So really, this is the zone, right? This is the zone that if the active bears want to reject price to roll down, this is where we probably don't get to. And if we get to there today, I am sure there are going to be some upset people. Why would there be some upset people? Because anyone who's caught short who's going to add to their shorts will probably get squeezed. And anyone who got out of their longs, like, oh my God, I can't believe I sold my longs. And it's just tougher move. But we'll see. We got to just map out levels. You have 544, so we're pretty much halfway into this candle, right? Halfway into from 551 to 539. Just say that's 11 points. So really, the halfway mark, comes in, right around here, which is like 540 right here. So that's smack in the middle. So we'll see what happens. So sometimes what happens is in the first 30 minutes, you get to that spot, you could fade it. And then if we don't pull back much and all these stocks with some key names, don't go from green to red and they're holding up, the next time you get through it, then basically, some active shorts that don't want to stay the course cover and then you have a better squeeze. So we'll see. The Qs, like I said before, let us down. The Qs made a lower high, 485 versus 503, a lower high. And then remember last week we broke this 467 fast. So if you were thinking this was a bull flag to go, you had to get out of the way. Then you had another bear flag as, just sellers or rejected price right in here. And then boom. So now what? Qs are up 430 at 453, kind of no man's land. This is 457ish. So you can almost say, like, again, this is, you want to see how much of this candle rejects price. So that would be kind of right in here, which is around this 453, 454. So if you reject price right here and roll down, it tells you how weak the market is. If they want to mess with everyone, they let some guys short there and then they roll through it a little later today. So that's that. I'm not even going to get into like the IWM has been a piece of junk. It's they give you little trades here and there. Remember up here when they were talking about 50% gains in the small caps and then a broke lower high. This was your wedge break to the downside. So at this point, we'll, I guess, see if this rejects price. This is 210. So that would be a spot. So the morning is does the morning strength get rejected? Sometimes I've seen they open up and they grind all day. They get everyone to cover, and then at 2:30 they roll them over. So again, this is going to be one of those days where you have to be careful and really watch the price action because most stocks don't look good. If you look here at tech at the Mag 7, it's like there's nothing really great going on here whatsoever. You look at Tesla, wow, my goodness gracious. It looked as if Tesla finally was going to regain a little bit of momentum. You actually had 2 good days there and then smack, boom. If you're like, nope, Tesla's going back to 270, 300, like all the active bulls say, or the Tesla diehards, you got really hurt. And now if you went home short Tesla because it took back 2 big days, let's see what's Tesla doing this morning. Tesla it's up 4. So you got to figure out, do you want to short a little bit more? 215-ish. What's 215-ish? It's right, right around here. So, if it opens up 4, maybe if you're like, hey, Tesla is down so much, it's a great spot to add to my short. Okay, you could try it. But ultimately, if you're short Tesla overnight, I get it. If you're not in it, I get it also. I made some good money in Tesla last week, and then thank goodness, didn't take it. I tried it right here for a second, and then you got rolled over. See, the thing is, if you look at mega cap tech and you look at the market, he's like, okay, it's September 9th. What do I do here? You look at some key names, and it's like, wow, like Google, first of all, had the worst bounce out of all of them. So that's why relative weakness, relative strength helps. I don't think I traded Google once since the August 5th lows. This is when it was acting healthy above the moving averages. And then ever since numbers, it's been dead for sale. Like this broke. This is your August 5th low. Look what Google did. So, the S&P and the Qs, we're still well off those lows, and Google's already breaking the lows. So that's an avoid, right? And that also tells you that, hey, maybe some other key Mag 7 names could roll down. So again, if you have risk off and you're not enjoying this gap up, I get it. Microsoft's been horrible also. Microsoft broke below the 200 day. When Microsoft's below the 200 days, an active trader, you don't want to be in that. Okay, so now today you'll see what kind of bounce back. This is your August 5th low. So there's still a lot of room there if it wanted to get there. Not everything's going to get to the August 5th lows. I'm just saying if Google could do it, I could see why some people are concerned about, some of the other ones. And Microsoft was below the 200 day. Then you have Apple's event today. Okay, Apple's event today should be interesting. Some people are like, well, they didn't really buy it into the event, so maybe they can't sell the event because normally they sell the Apple event. Well, we'll see. At this point, you have your parameters. You have 225 as resistance, 219 support. Apple right now is doing what? Apple is it's only up $1 now. It was up $2 a second ago at 221.80. So it's in the middle of no man's land. So this is going to be important today. Does Apple hold up $1? And on the news, whatever they come out with their event with their AI features, if they sell it down and it breaks 219, and there's 217. There's look how far off the August 5th lows this is. So is it going to hold its relative strength, or is it going to play downside catch up? We don't know. We got to figure that stuff out. And actually, as we're speaking right now, look at NVIDIA. They're already selling NVIDIA down. NVIDIA's only up 11 cents. The futures are up 40 handles. That's not healthy for NVIDIA. So anyway, I wonder if something came out on NVIDIA, because it does not look good at all. Here's NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been a leading indicator in a lot of different ways. When we rallied in May, look at that beautiful move above the 8-day into the reversal. Then you had a high, lower high, another lower high, and then we've been working lower here. So at this point, NVIDIA is probably going to bring down the market a bit, I would think. Here's the SPYs. Now we're only up 360. What are the Qs doing? This is how things move usually intraday. It's, off. We were as high as 453, and they're going to try and contain this market by this. That's what the bears have to control. Got to always know what the keys to the day is. What happened to Meta? Meta's horrible. It's, just in general, it's not horrible, but it's just not easy to trade. What's it doing right now? It's up 6, okay, at 507. Meta's in a huge range, but also can't do it by itself. Meta looked decent, and then all of a sudden, look at that candle. That's a pretty gross candle. So I'm sure there are more people short Meta overnight than long it. If you look at a candle like that actively, granted the institutions are accumulating it, but actively this would be more of a short than a long. So you come in today, they have to figure out what to do. Are they going to sell more Meta, or is it going to just hang in there? So up 6 or this is a tough open. I'm trying to come in this week very even keel, optimistic. Is what it is. We can't control how the market's going to, open every day, how it's going to trade. We can only be prepared, right? The market's been very tricky for me also, as someone who's been doing this for a long time. You go back to the SPYs here, you could sell the gap up. Okay, I get it. Basically for me and a lot of other guys out there, kind of didn't think, why would we go from a V bottom all the way back to the highs here? We did. Okay, it is what it is. We got back above 540, and then they squeezed anybody who was still short, thinking it would be stopping there. And then once it was up here, you couldn't stay short, right? Look at this 9-day upper area after a huge move, digesting, closing on the highs that Friday. And I know it was light volume, it was a Friday, but not easy to stay short there, and then maybe even flip long, and then that candle happened, and now here we are on, we had to move lower, into some kind of retracement zones. And at this point, it's up 360. We'll see if this opening strength holds or fades. Ultimately, though, it's September 9th. We have the CPI this week, the PPI this week. Obviously, we want numbers to come in, so it shows that inflation is going down, so the Fed could lower rates. The debate you're going to hear all week, is it a quarter, is it a half, is it going to be how dovish? It was, right now the streets actually pricing in over 100 basis points of cuts. That means a full point between now and 2024. I think the market's going to have a weaker sentiment and lower for that to happen, but we'll see. And Rick Friedman shorting the NASDAQ futures right now. By the way, this is what I get to see. If you're on YouTube, you get to see everybody talking. So Rick says he's shorting the futures. Health Minded says sell gap ups. Health Minded also says Google, Amazon, Microsoft all under the 200-day moving average. Yes, that's not special. Usually we're only in names that are special if we're active, right? And if not, you're tactical, just trying to make cash flow. So anyway, listen, guys, it's 6:46. I have so much to do. If you're coming into the Alpha team this morning, you could come in all week. Should be pretty active. Maybe we'll make some good money. Hopefully there'll be some good trades. I'm not going to force things just because there's an extra 500 people watching. Going to do what I do every single week, every single month. And I've been doing this for a lot of years, since 1999. Had some fantastic years, and then some years are a little bit more frustrating than others. It all depends on the sequence. If you've had a tough 3 weeks, it's 3 weeks out of 50 plus that we trade. So anyway, at this point, what I would do is say, listen, let's approach this week. Let's try and make money every single day. And then all of a sudden it adds up for the week, and then some weeks tack on, and then boom, you're doing great. And if you're doing great already, congratulations. As far as Palantir, it's up 6%, up 2. That's nice. I am in $31.50 calls. We'll see how it goes. This has been a stronger name. It had a big breakout, pulled in, trying to hold this area. For this to really, it'll be interesting. If this market's really that weak, they're not going to let Palantir all of a sudden get to 35. Someone's like, Red Dog, we're going to score. Palantir is going to be 35 today. I'm like, it's up 2. I'm hoping it's just up 2 so I can make a double on my options and then figure out what's next. But anyway, this has been a better name, so we'll see how that goes. Dell's been a little bit of a weaker name. Look at this, closing the dead lows. People weren't anticipating this. This gap is filled, to be added. So this one, remember, I'm like, it tried to go on numbers. I'm like, if we can't hold 110, get the hell out of the way. Well, what's Dell doing this morning? Dell is it's up 6 at 108. Okay, so if you're trading Dell, some people probably went out short Dell. Why would they go out short? Well, closing the dead lows, they kind of trapped the longs in from here. So anyway, at this point, we'll see, does it get rejected into this 110, or does it take this candle back and try and get better? We'll see. But again, and if you're held Dell and you're long and you're getting bailed out, book some. You kind of got lucky here. Rolando says, what, Amazon 230 for furloughs, maybe be a bounce. Yeah, listen, everything's going to try and bounce this morning. The question is, can they hold up in the first hour? And if so, anyone adding to their shorts from last week might get squeezed, and then you see where we go. Or they open up and the sellers come back, and that'll show us how weak we are. At this point, though, most people in my alpha team, they're all tactical. If you trade actively for a living, it didn't say, hey, maybe, oh, the oscillator's minus 45. I should be, buying a little bit. Okay, for a trade. That's worked because of the misdirection that the computers give. But ultimately, it's not going to make you money over time. If you're in a downtrend, you're out of the way. You're trying to short. You're shorting rallies. You're trying to play little bounces in the hole. And then when things, create a new sequence, then you get in there and then you have some swings on, etc. But we'll see how it works out. At this point, I got to jump. See you guys soon, and it's a new week. Hopefully your fantasy football team is doing all right. I'm looking forward to see how the Jets actually play versus San Fran, a great team, and see if all the optimism there is worth it, right? And when was the last time you saw 2 Jets players go in the top 10 in fantasy football? Anyway, so you're always optimistic until the games run out. And by the way, the Giants, I don't think they're going to win more than 3 games this year. Not that matters. All right, guys, I'll see you in a bit.